And welcome to SUAANGAN. I'm your host, Inuvialuit. On today's show, we will join in on the fun at Aurora College's first annual Cultural Awareness Day held here in Inuvik. After the break, we will hear from organizers and youth who attended the Caribou Impact meetings to discuss the declining numbers of caribou. You are watching SUAANGAN right here on APTN.
The Aurora College here in Inuvik put together a local culture appreciation day for all of their instructors from surrounding communities to get together, just so we get an understanding of where their students are coming from. So we have the same goal in knowing their background, whether it be Gwich'in or Inuvialuit or non-Aboriginal. We felt it was needed throughout the college, just so everyone knows where each other is coming from, to get a better understanding of what students need.
And you could use any kind of fruit that you could eat, cranberries or anything like that. It has fruit on it out in the bush. Maria likes the yellow berries. Yeah.
Well, it's long overdue. It's about appreciation. It's about the fact that we have staff who are from here and staff who are from away. And we have so many things to share together and rarely have the opportunity.
That's good fruit for you to eat too. It's any kind of fruit like berries you eat, and it's good for you and it cleanses your body, you know.
It started off with, I believe, Mabel English taught traditional medicine, followed by Rosemary Kirby, who was teaching traditional knowledge.
In here, one of the men from Inuvik said he talked to an elder and asked him why his woman couldn't go out with him. And the elder said, well, if something happened to two of you, who's going to watch your kids? If one of you go and one of you perish, then, you know, there will always be someone to watch your kids. But somewhere along the line, it became superstition. We'll have to find a hunter for her in Paltak so she could learn some more. Not a trapper, I said, a hunter.
I really liked your session. There's a lot of nice sharing in the circle. I just like to ask you about the significance of the circle and the sharing that goes on.
Because we're still treated indifferently many times, and sharing gives the opportunity for the Southerners to understand a little bit how the Inuvialuit, what the Inuvialuit believe, what the Inuvialuit traditions are, and learn to accept them.
I liked how your presentation was, you basically guided everyone through it, but you had everyone else talk. And have you been doing this for a number of years now?
Well, I'm a teacher. You learn many tricks as a teacher.
I go out on the land when they're picking their berries with them. I visit the stages when they're drying their fish. They're very generous. I go down when they're ice fishing. I do some meditation with some of the people there.
It's about, perhaps for some of our newer staff, having a chance to learn about the culture perhaps a little more quickly than they would have to on their own, because we had people here today share wonderful information about the plants, about handiwork and beadwork, about stories from long ago, we serve the Beaufort Delta and Satu, so we had people tell stories about all those different places, and it was fun.
I think I'm doing a little bit of preaching, but bear with me. I just want to get this across, because you're all teachers. I want you to know that. When you first start teaching, that's the best way is go to their homes or go to the community dances or community feasts, community, whatever they're doing in the communities. That'll be really good.
So are the instructors telling you that they're going to bring some of these things back to their classroom?
Well, I think they have a better understanding of where their students are coming from. Being mostly non-Aboriginal up in the Northwest Territories, they don't realize that the student doesn't have as much formal education as a non-Aboriginal student, because throughout the elementary school life for the student, A lot of them had to be pulled out of school halfway through the school year in order to go live out on the land to make a living for the family. So a lot of the students don't have a complete formal education. That's why it's a little harder for the student to learn at the same capacity as a non-Aboriginal student.
We work very hard together, and it was so powerful when Nellie and Denise and Violet thanked the staff today. That was very powerful, because sometimes it's nice to know that you're appreciated, just like we need to appreciate our students and where they come from and the wonderful things that they have in their past. So it's about respect, and it's about appreciation. We're very blessed to have the jobs we have in this wonderful environment, and we're blessed with a beautiful day today for our outdoor activities.
We had a lot of fun over at the Happy Valley Campground here in Inuvik. We had a blue ball toss, which was just, just playing ball. The girls were able to tackle the guys, and the guys just had to put up with us. And we had snowshoe baseball, which was just totally fun. They enjoyed most of the outdoor activities. We had tea making, fire making, bannock making. It was wonderful.
A lot of my friends, which in Inuvialuit, saw two friends, recommended that we do more of this, that we bridge that potential gap between those from away and those from here. And we have so many good things to share.
You always had a mark to see where you...
Curious how often these programs are held?
This was actually the first one for the college. I know other organizations in Inuvik have had these events, but for us this was the first time.
Do you think this will become an annual event?
It's going to be an annual event.
The drum dancing was the highlight of the day for me. Okay, other people maybe not, but for me it was, when the drums beat, something in my heart just beat with it, and it sent shivers up and down my spine. Such a warm, loving feeling. I don't know why I felt that way. I think it just, to me, meant that I was back home, and this is where I need to be right now.
This workshop was to discuss the issue regarding the caribou, more specifically the blue-nosed caribou in the Inuvialuit region, the Gwich'in region, and the Sawtoo region, and how to address the declining populations of that herd.
And what are some of the recommendations? Could you tell some key ones?
Well, it broke up into 6 different groups, and each of the groups came up with different recommendations. The majority of it was to try and minimize the declining population and how to address how they're being harvested to minimize, again, the impacts that are taking place on them, identify why the populations are declining. But these are recommendations that would go forward to the appropriate ministers for them to consider, as well as the co-management bodies.
Is there anything that you yourself learned in the last couple of days while being here?
I've learned that it's as bad as everybody thought it was, but it's something that isn't new to everyone, and we're having to face up to reality and try to get everybody on side to make sure all the people that are concerned or care about or harvest the animals are on side with the recommendations when they come forward, so that we're all working together to ensure that the caribou population rebounds.
A lot of elders are saying that without caribou they would not have their meat at all, like not enough money and all that stuff. So has there been any measures or proposals on how to help elders?
Not specifically, but I mean, we've had a lot of elders involved in the meeting itself. We've had a lot of youth, we've had hunters, a wide variety of representation here at the workshop itself, recognizing that there's going to be less and less caribou on the table for every family out there, and there's going to be an increased demand for other food sources. So there has to be some kind of a mechanism to monitor and ensure that we're not putting too much pressure on those other species that are out there, such as moose, the fish species, because we're going to have to alter our diets to feed more on the other sources of wildlife that we have in the area.
Do you think if they set limits, they're going to be hard to impose on people?
Well, again, we were very cautious, I guess, in our working group at the very least to use the term limits, because we recognize the need to have everybody supportive of the process. Otherwise, you're always going to have those few people out there that think it's their right, no matter what, to go out there and get a caribou whenever they want. But we have to get everybody on side to work towards improving the population.
I learned a lot of information on the numbers we knew the numbers of the caribou, and listening to the people, I hope we can come up with something good for our people. We'd get information from the YMAC and bring it back to our HTCs. In turn, we'd give this information to the other organizations to better our situations and to distribute the quotas of the species. We're not here to determine numbers on the caribou. We're here to minimize the impacts of the caribou.
I'm here because I was helping to facilitate the discussions with the youth who are here for the workshop. It's very important to bring youth out to workshops such as this, because caribou is the topic here, and caribou is essential to the Aboriginal cultures up here in the north, the Gwich'in and the Inuvialuit. And these youth, they're a really great group. They've identified on their own the importance of caribou to their culture. And it's important for them to be here because at their age, they're kind of living in between a balance of traditional way of life of their people and also the Western life. So they're in between two. You know, they do things that typical teenagers do down in the south and in the cities, but yet they also do things that are part of their culture, like hunting, fishing, trapping, and it's important for them to be here because they need to increase their awareness of the issues that are going on, and through doing so, and these guys are doing a great job at that, they're educating themselves and they're preparing themselves to take over as future leaders, and they're preparing themselves to make good informed decisions, because in the end it's going to really, the results are going to impact their future and the future of their children down the road.
I learned about how lower caribou were. Never knew that they're as low as they were, and they're low right across North America.
Yeah. And why do you think the numbers are so low? Did you learn why?
We never figured that out yet, no.
Would you say a lot of people in Inuvik rely on caribou still?
There's a lot of, especially elders, and a lot of youth too. We all eat lots of caribou.
Yeah. Have you had the chance to go out and hunt this year?
Caribou went out a few times and never seen nothing, so went out hunting moose.
Whereabouts should you go looking for caribou?
Richardson Island.
Do you think there are any alternatives for people that have to rely on caribou? Like, do you think there are any other choices for them now? Or?
There's nothing that will be the same as caribou. There's moose, but nothing compares.
What about your family? Like, when you discuss caribou, are they worried about the numbers, or?
Not too much, but yeah, when it does come up, and we are noticing that they are low, and we know that there's got to be something done about it, or else soon enough there'll be nothing. So.
Are you gonna change the way you hunt?
Well, I think everybody is. I think everybody's got to cut down and not shoot cows, and more focus on bulls and fall time, and don't bother them when they're calving. And go around, and yeah, everybody's got to work together on this.
You think if they set a limit, it'll be hard to enforce?
Sure hope not. If they set a limit, I hope people obey it and not go and kill more than they're supposed to. So if people do that, that's no respect for the animals, and soon enough there'll be no caribou, so got to respect that. If people obey the limits, and in a few years hopefully our population will be back up and we could start hunting like we have been lately, but so let's obey the rules.
Well, I kind of noticed it hunting myself. Like, while we're hunting up this year, usually there's a lot of caribou when we're hunting up in the hills around the Klavik, but this year there was still a lot, but they passed really quick. It's unusual. This year we had maybe a month altogether to go hunting, and usually have maybe 2 months.
Is there a limit to how many you can get?
I don't think so.
Not yet.
Well, when me and a few friends go out hunting, we usually get a lot and then give it to the elders at the old folks' home or other elders around the town who can't go out hunting themselves.
Great. And are you worried about food for the elders now? Did you talk about how this can be resolved?
Well, at the meetings, yeah, we talked about that, but at home we just keep hunting and help out the elders and other people around town who can't provide the caribou themselves.
Yeah. So after this meeting, are you going to change anything about how you hunt, or what do you think?
I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait and see till I'm out there and actually hunting.
Yeah. A lot of people in my community, Politic, a lot of people eat a lot of caribou meat and a lot of fish and geese, and yeah. So pretty much there's a lot of caribou eaters. I learned a lot about the caribou and the land and how the caribou needs to grow how it needs to keep growing and not fall back on how much we've got left. Yeah, we're pretty low. We're at 1,800 caribou.
Do you think it's because we've been killing too many?
I'd say, yeah. Pretty much, I'd say that they've been a lot of caribous killed within the last few years by a lot of big hunters.
They ever talk about any other factors like disease or anything like that?
Not that I heard of. Not that I know of. I haven't heard much about that.
How did you get chosen to be one of the people to come here?
Well, the mayor from Politic named Ray Rubin, he came to the school and he asked the students if we were interested in going for a conference with the caribou. And so I told him that I was interested in going, and I filled out a form and I got chosen to come, so it's a great privilege to be here.
And do you go out hunting much yourself?
Me? No, I don't go out hunting. I went once, and that was a couple of years ago. And I went with both of my uncles, Muffa Kudlak and Brian. That was the only time I went caribou hunting, and we got one caribou. Oh, it was a great experience to know what it's like to go out on the land hunting. And I've gone out camping, but it was my first time going out caribou hunting with my uncles. I think when I get back home, spread the story about what's going on with the caribou and, how we got to respect that they're running low and we need to do something now. Otherwise, we don't. In the future, who knows what left's going to be there. I just hope that people could respect that there are a little bit caribou left and that we need to do something, and I hope that the word goes around and people could hear what we have to say. And us as youth, we're the future for the North, and we're the ones that got to know what to do, when to do and how to do, and know what to do if this ever comes up again in the future.
With the decline of the herds, all herds within the Northern Hemisphere of Canada, we have to deal with a shortage of meat, harvesting of caribou, and the impact it's having both culturally and also for training of younger people, that next generation that's going to take, the place of our people later on in years. We're looking at a long-term comeback for the population, and we're trying to prepare for that. I think the biggest thing here, I think that that I felt coming out of here was that with the traditional cultural side of passing on traditional knowledge, the practical side. I mean, it's easy to talk about it and and talk to your children in a home or in a school or in a classroom, but it's if the herd are not there to harvest, that makes it a lot harder to pass it from a father to a son and give him the first-hand practical experience. So I think those are the kind of things that we're going to have to, as a people, all cultures, going to have to try to find alternative ways to try to, to continue to pass on that knowledge. Because it's really important, because if the caribou, for instance, take 50 years to, to rebound back, it might take a long, long time. I'll be gone. A lot of the people here will be gone. So there's got to be other generations that, that had the practical experience to say, yes, this is how we've been taught, and and this is the uses that we have for the from the byproducts of the caribou. The whole focus right now, I think, with the numbers, there's limited numbers right now, what's being able to be harvested from the numbers of those herds, is to target both the education, and the education side in schools, and also in young people that are going to college, just to let them know that, if they belong to our people, and they're going to come home and, interested in our culture and continue on and maintain a cultural presence, a real cultural strong presence for their people. They got to understand that. And that's approaching it from one side, and the other side is to get people out in the land, young people with experienced hunters, to explain the process of right from the starting of the harvest right until you bring it back and distribute it.